Okay, hello everybody. I am Jamel Bookaboo, our executive with Youngevity, and our very special guest today is Dr. Corey Gold. He is a Diamond Ambassador. He's a leader. He's a top earner in the industry, triathlete. He's an Ironman. I could go on and on. And I have known him for a couple of years. And one of the things I did when I first started checking out Youngevity and Dr. Wallach was I flew to America to meet the leaders and the people that were in my team and other teams in the business, because I wanted to see for myself if it worked. Also on the call today we have Kevin McDonald, who is a former paratrooper in the military, who basically got pain free thanks to Dr. Wallach's supplements. So Dr. Corey, welcome to the call. Thank you for your time. If we could have like 10 minutes of your time, that'd be wonderful. And can you just let us know a bit about your story and why Youngevity worked for you to begin with? What made you choose Youngevity and Dr. Wallach? And welcome to Australia today.
Well, hi, Australia. It's good to talk to you all. Thanks and it's been fun getting to work with you over these past few years and cruising with you and getting to know you and spending some time here in Southern California with you. And I know Tom Chenault, another Black Diamond ambassador, spent some time down with you just recently. I was working and I was running a company called For Hope International. That's my last Ironman finish line there. I was working with a company called For Hope International. I was the company president. I was one of the founders of that company. And we were working to help, improve people's health and do it through network marketing. And to me, that was the best of both worlds. I happen to love the network marketing industry. I've been making my living at it for 20 plus years. And I love helping people feel better and have better health. And that's what we are doing with For Hope International, the company that makes pollen bursts and so forth. And Sandy Ellsberg, a good friend of mine, a good friend of yours, had lunch with me one day and said, Corey, you've got to go down and meet Dr. Wallach. I really didn't know Dr. Wallach personally at that point. I obviously knew about Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and that he was a maverick, and that he was one of the real people that had established the Health Claims Petition Act, and that he was one of the people who, with Dead Doctors Don't Lie, had really revolutionized how people think about nutrition. And I took a drive down to San Diego, where I live now. I did not live there then. And I met with him for the day. And after meeting with him for that day, I met with his son, Steve Wallach, and I said, let's do something together, because I'm trying to do the same thing you're doing. You're just way ahead of me in that curve, and I think we could be better together. And on that day, I brought my product line to Youngevity, and I went back into the field. I decided not to go into their corporate office, but instead to go back and be a distributor, because I felt where I could help the best is what I did the best, which was sharing the product, sharing the business opportunity, and growing the business from a distributor position. And I've been doing that now for 11 years with Youngevity.
I've heard you say that before, Dr. Corey, and that's something that's very rings true with a lot of Aussies. A lot of professionals in Australia work about 60 to 70 hours a week, and they're earning about $100,000. So realistically, and I've heard you say this before, with your time freedom, what you do as a network marketer, you manage your own time. And I'm fortunate enough to have you as an upline. And by the way, I'll mention this on the when I share this on social media. But if you have been referred by this video from somebody else, contact them. Otherwise, just send me a message. But the time freedom is something that's very important, because before you know it, you're going to be 70 years old and you've worked Monday to Saturday. So let's face it, it's 6 days a week now. So how did you transition from, because I know that you're back, you worked with the stars in Hollywood looking after their teeth, and maybe you could help me at some point. But anyway, how did you make that transition? That's the biggest thing I think Australians have. You said something on one of your I think it was 2015, on a leadership meeting. People are asking themselves, "Can I do it? Is this guy going to help me? And is it real?" How did you transition over from a full-time, kind of 9 to 5 into a network marketing job? And you are one of the best in the business, by the way. Green guys, that's the blue jacket, that's the diamond ambassador rank. And Dr. Corey's one of the top network marketers in the world. So
well, I'm super happy because Tom, Chenault, myself, and Cheryl just became black diamonds. That's even cooler. And that's to be fun to celebrate at the convention. But the big question you asked was, how did I transition over? First off, I mentally had to determine that I wanted to, because I decided to keep my full-time job. That was being a dentist. And that would keep the money flow coming in for my family and the household and the cars and the kids. And I was going to spend my extra time in the early mornings, lunchtime, evenings, weekends, building a network marketing business. And at that point, I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew that I needed a change, and that I really deeply understood at that point that what I was doing as a dentist it's a fine profession, but what I was doing I was just a hamster on a dental wheel. I mean, it was never going to change. And I didn't really love that wheel, and I needed to change. Otherwise, my life would continue the same way. So I decided to dive into network marketing, and I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know what to expect. And what I found is I was having a really good time. I enjoyed talking to people. I enjoyed helping people. I enjoyed mentoring people. I enjoyed talking about their health. And I was enjoying it more than my regular job. And I was starting to earn some extra income. And eventually I started cutting down my days at work from 5.5 days to 4.5 days to 4 days to 3.5 days, because I want to spend more and more time doing network marketing. Now, that was something I could do because I built my business up. There's my pretty wife. I built my business up so I could have the luxury of cutting down my dental time. And eventually I sold my practice and went full-time network marketing, and that was like 20 years ago. I wanted to change badly, so I was really open to being coached and learning how to do this profession. It is a profession. I was open to becoming a dentist. I had to learn to do that. You know, people who are computer programmers have to learn how to do that. People who are lawyers have to learn how to do that. We all have to learn how to do our professions. So I learned how to become a network marketer for some of the really great network marketers. And I spent my time and sweat equity into doing it. And after a period of time, I realized that I knew how to do the business. And that's a saying I have there, which is called choose your hard. And we get to choose a lot of stuff. And so I chose the hard to be Ironman triathlons. I chose the hard to be network marketing. But I choose these things versus other people telling me what paths to take. And we're all going to work hard. So the question, am I going to be working hard toward hopefully building up something for myself, or basically just working for today? So part of it was I transitioned over time. I kept my full-time job. I didn't dive in head first, because that would have caused a panic. It would have caused me to be nervous. It would have caused me to be overly aggressive. And I want to do things the right way. But behind it all, I knew if I put in the time, I'd learn the business. And it didn't really matter how many people didn't see what I saw. Eventually, if I was excited enough, some people would. I could talk to all of you for days and weeks and all kind of people about doing this 140.6-mile race that I do, and probably almost everybody would turn me down. That's fine. But the few people who really love it and I practice and do it with, we have a great relationship together. So the fact that everybody's not interested in doing what I do is fine. I just need to find the ones who are interested in what I'm doing. So I was sorting not to convince people to do network marketing or Youngevity. I was looking for people who thought better health was the way to go and live your life, and being an entrepreneur was the way to go and live your life. And we're excited and opportunistic and enthusiastic. That's what I was looking for. And the ones who weren't that, okay, I sorted. But I eventually found a great group of people to work with. And now my team's a great big team of fantastic people.
Wow. and you you do have a great team. I'm not talking about myself there, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I want to kind of the reason why I kicked off these calls is because I want everybody in Youngevity everywhere, but focusing on Australia, to be welcome to these calls. Doesn't matter what line you're in, contact your upline at the end of the call. So we have different groups in the call today. I'd like to start with a good friend of mine, Kev McDonald. If you've got a question or comment for Dr. Corey, and just make sure you're unmuted. And then I'm going to switch it over to Isabel. And if you are a caller and you do have a question, just send me a message. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, you put me on the spot. I actually was enjoying listening to that story. I actually can't really think of anything that I'm not already familiar with. But I'm loving what I'm hearing, and I'm just happy to keep listening. I'm in between night shifts at the moment, so.
Well, Kev McDonald is a shift worker, and he's doing the transition. And so what would your words of advice be to Kev at the moment? Because Kev does meetings, and he's in that phase that we were talking about earlier.
Well, transition. I mean, the greatest thing about having other income coming in is that you can recruit the right way. You can recruit with integrity. You can recruit with honesty. And if you're trying to over recruit, like pushing people too hard, they can sense it, right? If you have a great thing to offer and you're excited about it, you don't have to over push it on people. It's only when you feel such pressure to recruit somebody because you need that dollar from that sale today to feed yourself, that people say, wait a second, if this is so good, why are you pushing so hard? So the fact that I was earning an income each day made me a good recruiter, because I could recruit from a strong posture, meaning I want the right people to join my business for the right reasons, because once they join, I have to work with them. And I want to have people who want to be here, not people who have to talk into staying here every month. So I think what you're doing, if you're working a gig and this is a transition for you, it makes you a better networker, in my opinion, because it gives you the ability to not worry. As my daughter, Sarah, I just saw her a minute ago, it gives you the ability to walk away from a prospect and say, I really don't want to recruit that person. This isn't the right person for me. I want to recruit people who I want to work with. I want to recruit people who I enjoy their time. I'm ready to recruit people who, I think really are willing to put in the energy. So I think it gives you some power there, in the sense that you don't have to stress on each person saying yes or no, and that you can get to the right yeses.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Isabel, one of my one stars. I'm going to get you to ask Dr. Corey, whatever you like. Just make sure you're unmuted there, and go ahead, Isabel. And Isabel's from Sydney's wonderful mid-north coast, and we're doing a meeting together coming up, which will be on the meeting locator and blasted out on social media. Everybody's welcome to all of our meetings too, guys. Doesn't matter who your upline is. Just we're focusing on moving Youngevity forward in Australia. Okay, Isabel, go ahead and just make sure you're unmuted.
Hi, Dr. Corey. I thank you and appreciate your time today. I just want you to know that we appreciate you. The thing I'm struggling with at the moment, I've been in network marketing for quite some time, and have let other things interfere. So I'd like to know how you push through that. Like when your stamina's down and you're not sure, you know that you want to stay in it, you know that you're going to succeed in it, but you come to a flat point. Mm-hmm. How do you actually approach that flat point?
That's a great question, because it's an honest question. And I will tell you that if somebody tells you they're never down or they're always up, they're lying to you. If somebody tells you their marriage is always perfect or their kids are always perfect, they're lying to you. The reality is that there will be up and downs, and we're emotionally driven people. And network marketers, my God, we're really emotionally driven. And that's what makes us good, because we sell with our passion. I always have to remember that I'm committed. That's why I'm an Iron Man or anything. I'm committed to a long-term goal. And I realize sometimes, and this may be a United States quote, is that It's like a bad Texas dance. They say it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back sometimes, right? But as long as you're going forward, and sometimes you're in a 2 steps back phase. And sometimes you feel like no matter what you're doing, it's like, you're like, why even start today? It's normal. I mean, I sometimes I feel like I'm in a battle. It's like, you know, why is it so hard? And you could be a Black Diamond ambassador and you feel that way sometimes. So it's not unique to you. I think I have to remember that I chose this for a lot of reasons. First off, I love what we share. I love what we represent. And the second thing is I can't think of anything I'd rather do that if I continued to do it for a long period of time would reward me better. I don't know what I would do and reward me better for what I do than network marketing. So I remember myself, yeah, this is part of the process. Just like having a cramp is part of being in sometimes an Ironman race. Sometimes you have a cramp. That's part of the process. And by the way, if it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. And the reason I get paid well in network marketing is because a lot of people do drop out.
Yeah, they do.
One of the things I should tell you about network marketing is what makes me stay in a lot is, first, I'm committed. But second is I'm really connected to a lot of people who I talk to virtually every day in network marketing. So I'm constantly having people sow into my life, and people will quit products. People will quit companies. People rarely quit relationships. And because I have such great relationships in this company, that even when I'm having a bad day, I can call someone else and they help lift me up. I think one of the mistakes we make sometimes in network marketing is not saying we have a bad day sometimes. And by the way, saying you're having a bad day sometimes doesn't mean you're complaining, because the best person in the world, you know, has a bad day. And, you know, so I think in saying that, it's just being real with people. In fact, when I talk to my downline and tell them sometimes I have a tough day, they're like, thank God, I thought I was the only one. I mean, it's good to know that Black Diamonds have tough days too, because otherwise, in other words, how could they become you if you never have a bad day and they have them? The reality is I have them too. But I am committed to the long term, so that helps me stay in. When I'm having a tough day, I sometimes will just check out for 6 hours or so, because I don't want to infect my negativity on other people. So if I'm going to be negative at the moment, and let's face it, we all can be negative. I have a mom who's not well. I have a father-in-law who's not well, and I have other issues going on that sometimes can, make you have an unhappy day. So if I'm unhappy, I don't want to infect other people with that. So I will sometimes check out for 6 hours at a time and come back when I feel I can be of help to other people. I don't want to do a conference call with somebody else when I'm not at my best, because I realize that the prospect is important to them and I have an obligation to do my best. It doesn't mean that I'll be successful, but I should bring my best to that conversation. It's also really helpful, like when you hear from me that I have down days, it's like sometimes people say, oh my God, Corey, you'll never hear what happened today. And they tell me what happened. I go, oh my God, that'd be a good day for me, because like this happened to me, and they're all laughing about it. It's kind of like, yeah, we all have stuff. Yeah. By the way, I had stuff in my dental office. I had stuff when I worked at any business I've ever been in. So I don't think there's a job or relationship or anything important that doesn't have days where it has stuff. Absolutely. So just be okay with that stuff's going to happen.
And
excellent.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it funny how that when you're having those kind of days, and it is a mission to keep on track, that you'll get that lift, and you go, right, that's it, on the board again. And then you'll come across someone that's sick, and you have all that enthusiasm to tell them, and then they turn around and go, oh, thanks, yeah, that's okay, no, I'm fine, still on medication. And you think, oh my God, every time you get that high is when you will come across people that just don't want to know about it. So how do you deal with that, when you got people, you're wanting better health for them than they do for themselves?
Well, I want people to have better lives in a million ways than they want for themselves typically. But in health, for example, I was taught very early on that my job was not to convince people. I always tell people this, and it's true. I've been married 28 years. I've never won an argument with my wife. So why would I think I'd ever win an argument with somebody else or convince people of stuff? I'm not here to convince them. I'm here to share what I know, and it's up to them to say, yeah, that sounds like something I want to pursue or something I want to run away from. My job is simply to say to them, listen, I don't know if you'd be interested in this information, but if you are, I got something to share with you. If they say no, I've done my job. My job's not to convince them. My job's to share with them and let them gravitate toward it or not. Sure, it's frustrating when I think that something I have for them could be beneficial for them, but I can't force it upon them. I can't make my kids do their homework. I can't make my in-laws be nice to other people. I mean, I can only present what I have, and it's up to them. I can only control myself, and so if I know my job's to present what I have, and at that point, I've done my job.
That's true. Brilliant.
And by the way, sometimes it's almost like a basketball player. Sometimes you have a hot streak where you're shooting and nothing misses, and sometimes you do all the right things and just doesn't go in. And so I think sometimes we go on a little bit of streaks, and sometimes it always seems like one thing changes our energy, doesn't it? Like, I'm not happy. Then all of a sudden one small thing happens positive. It's like, oh, I'm all positive now. So I think I try to stay in the middle a lot. Try not to get too carried away with the highs and try not to jump too far into the lows, and try to stay professional on it, because you're going to get both.
Yeah.
We've got a few minutes left, and guys, if you are on the call and you do have a question, either put in the chat room, which I haven't seen anything pop up yet, or just unmute your phone and ask a question. And we've got a few minutes to go, but Dr. Corey, down under in Australia, very big Dr. Wallach fans here, and I come across people all the time that go, hang on, my dad's got that cassette tape, and he comes out with the Dead Doctors Don't Lie from 20 years ago.
Right.
What resonates with you and Doc? As you know, I love the guy, and stayed at my home when I was in the US, and we brought him to Hawaii. What resonates with you and Dr. Wallach and his message, the kind of guy he is too, personally?
Well, what's funny about Dr. Wallach's message is it's really simple. When you think about it, it's when I first heard Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and I was not in this company at that time, I was going, this just makes a lot of sense, right? It makes a lot of sense. And now that I'm doing Ironman races, my diet's much, much better than it was when I was much younger, because I look at food as being fuel. So I want to put in good fuel, right? So it's like, I need to go bike, and I need to run, I need to swim. So what would be good fuel for my body? And I'm now eating a lot better because I view it not as, oh, that taste is great or that doesn't taste great. Sure, I want to eat tasty food, but I'm viewing it as fuel. And I've always thought that Dr. Wallach's message was intuitive. And that's why when people listen to it, they go, oh, that makes sense. I think he's telling the truth. Plus, I don't think Dr. Wallach is ever perceived as a person who was a very good fibber. I think he's just one of these very straightforward, very direct, very hard-driven people. And I kind of respect the fact that if you listen to a CD from 20 years ago and listen to him today, it's basically the same message. So he's not been one of these people who changes with every new scientific discovery. He's been really consistent for 20 plus years, and science is kind of catching up with him.
Yep.
The recent discovery of the butter being right for you and those diets being wrong for you, it kind of validates all the things that he's been saying for all these times. But when I met him, I just really felt connected to the fact that he was so driven and so passionate. And I'm saying, how does a man stay so passionate for his whole life? I mean, the guy is like marching to this beat without stopping for forever. That's because to him, it's more than just a livelihood. To him, it's more than just getting information out. To him, it's like a mission. To him, it's like a calling. And it's kind of fun to be working with people that it's just not a job. To them, it's kind of like life itself. It's kind of like, this is important, and if we don't do it, nobody will, and if we don't do it, people will suffer. And that's a connection that is easy to make.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Corey, thank you for your time and your call. This is going to be shared for everybody that wants to listen to it. And I'll mention in the notes, contact the person who shared this video with you, or contact myself, and all the information will be there. So, Dr. Corey Gold, thank you for your time.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
And thank you very much, thanks, Kev, Isabel, and have a wonderful evening there in California, Dr. Corey, and hope to be with you again soon. Thank you, Dr. Corey Gold.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.